Hi Flosstube friends, it's Sherry, Colorado cross stitcher, coming to you with my channel about cross stitching and a little bit of shop news from coloradocrossstitcher.com at the end. So happy new year. It's Friday, December 31st. We have big plans for this evening as soon as I'm done filming. Huge party. No, just me and my husband. Sitting around, probably watching TV. I'll be stitching, he'll be scrolling through his phone, but hey, it's how we spend most of our nights. So we haven't done New Year's Eve celebration for, well, at least 2 or 3 years, whatever, pre-COVID, and we'll do them again one time or another. But for now, Happy New Year's. I'm wearing my snowflake sweater because we have our very first snowstorm here in Colorado. It's been snowing all day long. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, and I think it's going to snow all night. So it is a good night to stay in anyways. Usually we have our first snow sometimes in September, almost always by October, for sure November, December. And here it is December 31st, our very first snow. It's been really a weird fall and winter so far. But we're excited. And you know, people think Colorado is really cold, and it's not cold. It's just got gorgeous temperatures. You know, in the summertime, it'll get into the 90s, but then it cools off at night. But in the wintertime, we'll get a snowstorm like we're getting, I don't know, I think up to 12 inches tonight, and it'll be gone in a couple of days because we're at an altitude, 5,000 feet, where the sun's so hot. So the sun melts everything off. And a lot of times in the winter, I don't even wear a winter coat because you just don't need one. You know, I usually wear a scarf to keep my neck warm, or I'll wear mittens, but otherwise it's just so mild and lovely. So y'all ought to move to Colorado. That would be fun. Wouldn't we have like the best stitching group ever? That would be cool. Okay, so tomorrow, Book of Days, right? Are you guys doing Book of Days? So I shared last time with you that I get mine spiral bound because I love being able to open it and lay it flat and not worry about the pages coming out. I also get a clear cover. Well, see, I flipped it. A clear cover on the front and back. You can have this done at any office supply store, Office Max, Staples, Office Depot, and it just keeps it a little bit nicer. So I did not do a calendar last year, and consequently, I'm always forgetting what fabrics I'm using and when I started a project. So I'm hoping by keeping this, I can tell you that information on my floss tubes a little easier. I did go through and pre-sticker some pages. So I had this great idea. I got this book, Brenda and the Serial Starter, recommended this book, or got this book. Of course, I thought I needed the book too. So it's a whole book of stickers. I got it from Amazon, and I will link to that below, but it's just pages and pages of stickers. And they have pages of every letter of the alphabet. So for example, here are the E's and things that start with E. And I thought, what am I going to do with all those letters? So I thought this was such an original idea, and then I saw somebody else talking about it on Flosstube. So it's a good idea. And I thought it was original. It doesn't matter. So I took the letters and put them on the first front part of each of the months. What else are you going to do with all those letters? So that was kind of fun. And then I found all my favorite stickers. Well, not all my favorite, but a lot of my favorites. And I thought, I'm just going to plaster them on the inside of this page so that I can see them all the time. So that's what I did. I just slapped them all on there, put my initials down here, and now I'm ready to fill it in, starting tomorrow. Well, in fact, I already started it because I started my Mary Harry, which I'm going to show you, and I wanted to write down what fabric I'm using. And I'm using 36 count dark cobblestone with an Npi Conversion. So I've got all my information right there for you. All right, and of course you don't have to use this Book of Days. You can use any calendar, but it is kind of nice to keep track of your creative pursuits. I usually keep track of my knitting and my stitching when I do these. Bonnie, who works with me, bought our last one today, and she's going to keep track of her stitching and her quilting in here. So that's also a good idea. So whether you do Book of Days or just any old calendar, it's a good place to have keep track of all of your things that you're doing. All right, I'm calling this 21 projects, but I actually think I'm showing you more than 21 patterns today because I've got things that I'm working on, something that I started, framed pieces that I got done, two oldies but goodies, including my very first cross-stitch piece, the 3 patterns that I designed for the Stitchers 12 Days of Christmas, and some new potentials, some haul, and we're going to talk about Brenda Keys patterns in the shop section. So I've got a lot to cover today, so let's jump in. First of all, I don't know, I've got something going on with my throat. Allergies. I've already restarted this once because I started coughing and then I wanted to take a drink, and you don't need to know about all that. Anyway, that's why I'm clearing my throat. So, Blue Flower Huckleberry Farm. And if you guys remember, I showed you this before and I commented on how I did not like working on those vines that go up either side of the sampler. I think they're gorgeous, but I don't know. I don't like things where you have to count 2 or 3 and then you go over here, and I just got mixed up. So as I was working on the flowers and the leaves and the berries on this piece, I found all these spots in the pattern where I was stitching and I just left off the last 2 X's on this branch, and on this branch I forgot a whole loop, and so I just started circling on the pattern all of the little places that I had to go back and fill in, and that worked fine, but I had a really good time working on all of those berries and flowers and leaves. And look at the leaves, because they are super fun to do. I don't know, the edges just curl up just so. Here, I'm going to stand up so you can see it closer. I like how the edges curl up on them. They just look graceful. Can leaves look graceful? They look graceful to me. And I love that there's some chipmunks in there, some birds. So it was really, really fun to do the leaves and the flowers and the berries. Not so fun to do the vines, but the vines are done. So that was one thing that I worked on. Sometimes when I sit down to do a floss tube, I think, gosh, it seems like I just did one. And I know it was 4 weeks this time, and I'm trying to do 3 weeks, but I didn't want to have to do it Christmas weekend. So anyways, it always feels like I was just with you guys. And then I look back on the stitching that I've done since the last time, and I think, man, I did that Huckleberry Farm ages ago. So it has been a while since I've been with you. All right, another one I pulled out, and this one I haven't worked on in several months, and that is With the Needle 2 by Lila's Studio. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And she had a similar piece with the needle, and then she did a little adaptation and came out with the Needle 2. This is one of those pieces I saw and I thought, oh, I would love to have that on my wall. And I've talked about this before, but isn't it cool how you can see a piece that was designed by somebody that you just fall in love with, and instead of having to buy an original piece of art, you can create your own original piece of art and put that same thing on your wall. I just think that's so cool about stitching. So here's my progress on that. And I had the side column done before and the green on the bottom. So I did the alphabet and the deer and the berry basket and the tall flowering tree bush. I just think the colors are so pretty. Let me see if I can pull out those colors and show you. Nope. I'm not going to pull them out because I already don't know what I did with that bag. But anyways, the colors are gorgeous, and I'm doing this on 40 count mallow, which is a very natural color, but it's going to be huge. Like, look how big that's going to be. So I'm glad I'm doing it on 40 count. And I did love going back. I think what stalled me before is, in my mind, I was thinking I was going to do the side column and then all across the bottom, which is here, and then I got tired of doing the bottom, and so I just put the whole thing away. And then I came back to it and I thought, well, I don't have to do across the bottom. I could change my mind about it. So I changed my mind, went back to it, and now it's fun again. And now I get to do that seam up on top of here, which is going to be really fun. So that's the second thing I worked on. And then the third thing I worked on, which I've had this pattern forever, Stacy Nash, Whittaker. This cute guy. And then if you want to, on the back, you can put a felted heart and then make it a scissor pocket. But I just want it as a little stuffed snowman. Because, you know, I collect snowman. I think I showed you that last year, and I think at the beginning of this video too, I'll put some of my snowmen that I put out at Christmas time. So I started him, and here's where I am on that one, and here are the colors. And I swapped out the white because I didn't think I had enough white in the called for, and I don't remember what's called for, but I'm using linen. It's a little pink, but that's okay. I think that's okay. All I have left to do is his head and then sew and stuff him. But here's my tip. So sometimes you have to use more than one skein of hand-dyed floss. And you know, hand-dyed floss can vary so much from one skein to the next. Even if you buy them at the same time, sometimes when you get into them, you realize, well, these are quite a bit different, and they're going to show up if you just stitch and then start with the next skein and stitch some more. So let's take a tip from the knitters, because as knitters, if we're doing hand-dyed yarns, a lot of times we'll alternate rows as we're stitching. So we'll knit down and back with one ball of yarn and then down and back with the next one. And what that does is it mixes up your skeins enough that you don't see a demarcation line where, well, this was one skein and you can tell where she switched to the other one. And I was afraid of that in his pants down below, because I was pretty sure it was going to take me more than one skein to do it. And they weren't full skeins, they were half skeins, but I had 4 of whatever this color is. I don't remember what it is. I had 4 different starts on it, and I thought, I'm not going to buy a whole new skein just to have the same one. I'm just going to alternate. So I'm going to put a picture in here. And that shows you how I stitched every other row so that I could go back in with the other skein and stitch the difference. And that makes everything blend together and you can't see where one stopped and the other started. So that's just a little tip for using up your extra skeins, because a lot of times we feel like we have to start a whole new skein for a new project, and then we end up with all these half skeins or a third of a skein or whatever. And if you're trying to be thrifty, and I'm always trying to, well, I'm usually trying to be thrifty, then it's an easy way to use up some of those mixed up skeins. All right, so I worked on that, and then I started, hang on, I'm losing a needle here. I started Mary Harry 1808 by Modern Folk Embroidery. And the thing that appealed to me about this is the colors. I love the colors in this sampler. I love teals. I love teals and chocolates together. And so I was really excited about that. Now this calls for Leo and Roxy floss, which is a wonderful floss. You can only get it at evertote.com. They're in Canada and they're wonderful. So if you want to order the Leo and Roxy, you can get it there. I decided to do an Npi conversion because, you know, we have the NPIs and I love those too. So these are the colors. I'm putting all my NPI silks on these floss drops that we carry in the shop, which are so fun. So let's see. So those are the colors I'm using, and so far so good. And I'm again reminded about how much I love stitching with silks. And this is my progress. And so I did the border, and then I decided to do all the fun things because there are 2 specialty stitches, and then this little alphabet is 1/1. I really don't mind doing 1/1. So I got the alphabet done, and then the Rococo stitch is the little line above the ABCs. And then the ABCs are eyelet stitches, and I'd never done either one of those. There are great directions in here on how to do both of those stitches. So that's wonderful. And I really had fun with it. I really enjoyed doing it. I'd like doing some specialty stitches. I don't think I'd like to do a band sampler or one of those samplers that's just full of specialty stitches, but you know, I did those first because I was kind of looking forward to doing them, and now I'm glad to have done them. I'm going to put a close-up of these stitches right here. So that was super fun to do, and it's a nice size. So as I'm thinking about my one-day sampler wall, I don't want just big samplers. I want some smaller samplers in there too, just to kind of mix up the shapes a little bit. And so things like this are really fun to do because then I'll have some smaller shapes to mix in with that. So those are the things that I was working on this week. All right, well, I was going to show you my oldies but goodies next on my list, but I'm not because I have a whole pile here stacked up and they're at the very bottom. So next, let's go to the patterns that I did for the Stitchers 12 Days of Christmas. I'm pretty sure all of you who bought them have probably opened them up, unless you're doing the 12 days after Christmas, in which case you might not have seen all of these, so you might not want to look if you haven't opened yours yet. So the first one I designed was Stitching Makes Me Happy, which it does. And I framed it in a little, I think that's a 6x6 frame. And I love how that turned out. Fun border in reds, which I, love reds. And so that was my first one. And then the next one I did was Winter, A Quiet Serenity. Don't you sometimes feel when it's snowing and it's so quiet, like the snow muffles every sound, and you just maybe walk out in your backyard or walk out in a place that's not near traffic and it's just so peaceful, like so serene. And that's what I was thinking when I was working on this. And so I finished this and I did it on charcoal. I think I did it on 36 count. And I used MPI silk. So I did just a little house at the top with smoke coming out of the chimney and little evergreen trees at the bottom, and then some Quaker motifs. So all of these, I just wanted to share these projects with you. The patterns I will have available next year because I keep them exclusive to the Advent for the first year. And then the last one I did was Joy, My Wish for You. And it says joy in that little silver bell up at the top. And I finished that one into a little pillow. Again, don't know how to hold pillows so you can see them. So there's that one. And then I put red polka dots on the back. And I glued little really thin baker's twine all the way around here. And again, I use Aleene's tacky glue because it dries clear. You cannot tell that this was glued on. You can't see glue anywhere, which was not the case when I was trying to hot glue trims on. You could always see the hot glue. With Aleene's tacky glue, you cannot see it. And so it's a great way to finish, and finishing with baker's twine is fun. Now, I wouldn't do it if I had to sew it on, and I wouldn't do it if I had to hot glue, but this worked out perfectly. So those were my 3 things that I finished this summer for the Advent kits. And then I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, Colorado Cross Stitcher, but I ordered picture frames. I don't like framing at all, but my framer Sherry in Greeley, Country Crafts in Greeley. If you're looking for another cross-stitch store, it's about 45 minutes from ours. She's a wonderful framer, but she was backed up for Christmas. So I thought, well, I'm just going to try and order and frame my own. So I ordered from pictureframes.com, and I was super happy with the service there. One of my frames was back ordered, and they gave me a chance to wait for the back order or pick another one, and they were super helpful in helping me pick a different one. And I think I ordered 6 frames. I'm going to show you 4 because I haven't done 2 of them yet. And I think I got them in like 2.5 weeks. I did their Black Friday sale, which was I think 25% off. So the first one is Rule of Life, Modern Folk Embroidery, and you probably remember I showed you this a few videos ago, and I did this one for my grandfather who came to the US from Germany, and so I personalized it with his information, his date of birth, his place of birth, and his German spelling of the name with the sharp S, and I really love how it turned out. Despite not enjoying the framing part, I do like how it turned out. It just takes me forever. I pin it, and then I also lace it, and the pinning, especially when there's a border with a straight line, I'm going to stop stitching things with straight lines if I'm going to have to be framing my own stuff, because I'm telling you what, I'm just not good at it. So that's my first piece that I framed, and then my next piece, hang on, comes from The Bells on Christmas Day, and it was the one on the back. And here is the frame. Now this was a little more forgiving because it's not a straight line. So I like how that turned out too. And I really like the frames. Like I said, they came so well packaged in a big box and super fast, especially considering they just had a big Black Friday sale. The next one is this GGR Martha S. Scott that I did for Paul's grandma. And I picked a barnwood frame because she had a farm, family farm. And so here's how that one turned out. Again, I put her name and her birthplace and her birth date, and can't wait to get it up on the wall. Granted, it will probably go up on the wall at Loopy, at Colorado Cross Stitcher and Loopy, but someday I'll have it back in my house, right? The last one I did comes out of this magazine, December of 1991. And when I first got this issue, this caught my eye, and I've wanted to do it ever since. And then I stopped cross stitching for a while, as you know, and I've just always wanted to get back to it. So it's this piece, Mittens. However, I changed all the colors because I pulled the colors and I wasn't really excited about them. I don't even know if I wrote down what colors I used. Nope. So don't ask me what colors I used. I should have kept track. Now I'm going to keep track because I have my book of days. Anyways, this is how it turned out. And I felt like I was really being risky by picking that color green, but it ended up working just great. I mean, you know, when you're looking at something online and it's not as yellow as this, it's a little bluer. That just doesn't look good on screen, but it looks good in person. You know, sometimes it's hard to tell exact colors on the screen, so I was really happy with the way this turned out. And back to the colors, so I just picked colors that were similar in color as to what they called for, but just a little brighter or had a little more pop to them. And then I just made up the color mixes as I went along. I paid attention to the pattern in terms of, you know, where the X's go, but not what color the X's were. I just kind of made it up, and I love how it turned out. I'm so happy to finally have it of my very own. All right, now I'm down to the oldies but goodies, and the first one you can remember my story about how I did an embroidered piece one summer during my college years. Did an embroidered piece for my husband, which still is not framed, but I did that, and then I went to the local yarn shop / cross-stitching or stitching shop. I think I was going there thinking I was going to get another embroidery kit. And when I went there, the lady said, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You want to do counted cross stitch. It's all the thing now." And so she gave me like a 5 or 10 minute lesson, and I picked this book, Hummels, because my grandma, married to my grandfather that I just showed you the picture of, my grandma collected Hummels. Of course, being from Germany, they had a lot of Hummels. And so I thought, well, I'll do a piece for my grandma. So that was my very first piece. And here it is. Very first cross-stitch piece. And I'm so happy to have it. I got it when I was in St. Louis a couple weeks ago. My mom had it for me. And what I love on the back, I don't know why there's a string here. What I love on the back, my grandma wrote, "Sherry made this for me. When cleaning out the house, let it go back to her." She got into this phase where she was putting notes on the back of everything. So I love that. I love having her handwriting on the back of this picture. So that was my first cross-stitch piece. And I've always wanted to go back to do more of these Hummels because there are several in here that I want to do. I have Hummels too. I inherited my grandma's Hummels. But we moved here over 10 years ago, and I've never unpacked the Hummel box. So I probably should do that just to see if any of them got broken. But anyway, I still like Hummels. So then I don't know if this is my second ever cross-stitch piece, but it was done that same fall, and I was in college, so I'm assuming it probably was my second piece because, you know, you don't have a whole lot of time. And that was the Gnomes. Because my mom was into gnomes, so I made this for her. And I've always thought I would go back and make some of these, because you know now gnomes are the thing, and I love gnomes. So this is the piece that I did for that. And I just noticed that these two, I must have really liked this frame, and now I'm not sure I even like it, but look, same frame. Same frame, different mats. And you know, back then we matted everything. So I did kind of like the matte with the blue, but so now I have them both at my house and put them up on the wall, and that's kind of fun to have. All right, so that is new framed pieces, old framed pieces, works in progress. Let's see what's next on my list. I've been ignoring my list and just talking away. All right, plans for next time. So I still haven't gotten back to his eye is on the sparrow, and there's no reason for it because I love that piece. I've just been working on other things. Several of you have asked me, like, how do you organize what you work on or know what you work on, or do you have certain days that you work on some things? And I've shared this before, but I generally work on something for a week. So if I pick up Huckleberry Farm again before the next video, I will generally work on it for a week, and I usually have a goal in mind, like I want to get all of those vines done, which is what my goal was last time. So that's kind of what I do. I work on it for a week, I put it away, I pull out another big project, and work on that for a week. A lot of times I'll take a whole week to do smalls, whether it's a lot of little smalls, like those little Christmas ones I did back there that I shared on the last video. Sometimes it's just one small, and then I go back to the bigs. So kind of I work on things for a whole week. I don't like working on it for just one night and then putting it away because I'm kind of on a roll and I kind of want to see more progress than that. So that's what works for me. So next time I really want to go back to his eyes on the sparrow. In fact, I may pick that up tonight just to make sure I start back in on it. More on Huckleberry. I want to finish the little snowman guy that I'm making. I have a Valentine small in mind that I want to do, and I am going to decide on another new start. And I brought some of those out. I think I shared a couple of them last time, but I brought some of them out because these are on my just three that I'm going to show you on my list. So the first one is Snooty Parrots, and I have wanted to do Snooty Parrots for a long time. I have it all kitted up. Well, I have the threads. I'm going to change the fabric. But this is Snooty Parrots by Barbara Anna. And I don't know, there's a lot that I like about this. I like the parrots themselves. I like the title. I like the house in there. And I like the row of trees up along the top there. So I've got that kitted, ready to go. Oh, except I'm going to change the fabric. So that's one possibility. This one I showed you last time. And this is the one I want to make for my grandmother from Germany who liked the Hummels. And I just think that's so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? The little flower. It just looks so delicate to me. And I'm doing the silks that I order directly from Reflets de Soie, and we can order any of those silk packs for you. But I'm really excited to do that. So that's a possibility. I don't know. And then the other day I thought, maybe I'm just going to start them all. I don't really enjoy starting projects. I like picking up projects that are in progress and I can jump right into them. I don't really enjoy the starts. And yet I don't want a dozen starts. So there's that. The last one is Hands Across the Sea, Elizabeth Furniss, 1836. I'm going to take this out of plastic because the colors, the colors in here are what really drew me to it. I don't know how well that comes through in the camera, but I just love, and almost the patchwork of the lawn down below, and the sheep, and the big cabbage flowers up at the top. I don't know, that's what I call them. I don't know if that's really cabbage flowers, but the whole thing, so pretty. I did get the silk conversion from the attic, which is my go-to place for silks when I need silks that I don't have. So that's all the silks. And now that I'm back stitching with silks, that's all I want to stitch with. And I have vintage sand dune fabric, which I think is what is called for. So I just kind of want to start it because, yeah, that looks like what it's called for. I just want to start it because I think those colors are going to be gorgeous. It's going to be a big project, so I have to decide, do I want to do that big old project? Probably so. So those are my plans for the next time. All right, let's talk about haul. I just have a couple of little haul things this time. So I've had this pattern for quite a while. Glary. Pineberry Lane. Winifred Glark. See, I thought it was Clark, but I was writing it down in my notes and it's Glark. Winifred Glark, 1892. And it's just 8 by 8 on a 32 count. So I'm doing it on 32 count because I don't want it to be any smaller than that. It's only 3 colors, so I pulled MPI for it. It calls for 2 DMC and a gentle art, but I wanted to do silks again, so just 3 colors. So it's a great one if you want to try silks and you don't want to have to invest a lot of money in that. And then I'm going to do it on Dirty Linen is the color. And it's one of those linens that is the staple. In other words, I order it. It's not hand dyed. It's commercially dyed, and you know, it's always in stock pretty much. Well, I shouldn't say that because nothing's always in stock anymore due to COVID, but we can get it frequently. So these are the 3 colors that I picked, and I think it's going to be really pretty on that dirty linen. So I kitted that up. And then the other thing that I really want to work on is Erica Michaels' Bristol berries. Now I don't know that I'm going to do them as berries. I'm undecided on that. But I really love that cute little red sampler in Bristol Berries 1. So I for sure want to do that. And then I'm going to investigate. I got all 3. sets, because then I want to investigate the other berries in here and see if I can make the sampler for my wall, and then some of the smaller ones, not as berries necessarily, but maybe as little pin pillows. Like, look at that squirrel, isn't he fun? So that's the other haul that I have this time. Okay, 3 things. Let's talk about 3 things. Last time I shared with you in my 3 things, what was I sharing with you? TV shows. I know the chocolate, not chocolate school of chocolate. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, that we watched and we really liked. And one of you mentioned in the comments the repair shop, and that I totally had forgotten about that. But Paul and I have loved watching the repair shop. Now, if you like antiques, you will love the repair shop. If you're not into old things like that, you probably wouldn't like it. But these people bring in these old family heirlooms that have just seen their better days. Some of them are damaged. Most of them are damaged. And they bring them in and they tell you the story and how it was so meaningful to them. And you think, how are they ever going to make that look like new again? You know, people will bring in pottery that has a big chip off it and it's hand painted, so you think there's no way. And these artisans are amazing at their craft. It's just so interesting to watch them just restore this piece to almost brand new. And then of course the people come and pick it up and they're just almost so overwhelmed because the piece is so meaningful to them. And to see it made new again, it just touches their heart. So if you haven't watched the repair shop and you like antiques, check it out. It's on the Discovery Channel, but you can also get free episodes because we don't subscribe to Discovery, but there are still episodes that are on just regular TV. So check that out. So that's one of my 3 things today, is the repair shop. And then I talked about this last time too, McCain's Furniture on Etsy. They're the place where I got that big long trough that has all of my little pin pillows in it. And as I was looking up the link for you last time to put it in the notes, I started looking at their stuff and made another order. And I just think these are really cool, and I'm not sure how I'm going to use them yet, but I bought this one. And I just think I could see it like hanging stitched ornaments on here, maybe. I don't want to finish a whole piece. Like, I want it to be something I can put back on my buffet back here just as a way to display things, not as a finish itself, because I'll want to swap them out. And I thought that would look really cool for Valentine's stuff, wouldn't it? So I got that one. And then I got another one because I couldn't decide what color I wanted. So I got this one too because, oh, I love teals. And isn't that one cool? Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to use it. It will also be really cool on a fireplace mantle. So I got those 2. And then yesterday I was looking on their site again and I placed another order. So I'll show you those the next time. They're super fast in shipping. The shipping is a little pricey because, as you can imagine, these things are heavy, but both times I've ordered from them, they've refunded half of my shipping costs. They do an estimated shipping cost and they've refunded half of it back. So it's going to cost less than probably it looks like it's going to cost, but they just are a great little shop. My third thing, Stroop waffles. So do y'all know what Stroop waffles are? We were watching the Great Canadian Baking Show, and one of the challenges was to make Stroop waffles. And our son Danny, when he visited, I think Amsterdam is when he got into Stroop waffles. And we've had Stroop waffles before. They're little, very thin waffles with a layer of caramel in the middle. And what you do is you take them out of the package and you set them on top of your coffee or your tea, and the steam from the warm beverage warms it up, and then it's just, you just eat it and it's delicious. Well, we were watching Great Canadian Baking Show, and one of the challenges was to make Stroop waffles. And I think on the Great British Baking Show, they actually showed a whole segment on the original company, I think, that started making Stroop waffles. So that was fun just to see that. But then on this one, they had them make them. And I thought, well, how hard can that be? So I ordered the little waffle maker, And I thought, when Danny comes for Christmas, I'm going to see if he wants to do that with me. And we just had the best time doing it, and they turned out so good. So I'm going to link to the little waffle maker that I got, and it wasn't expensive. I don't know, it was maybe 35 or 40 bucks, but it was super fun. And you can also make waffle cones for ice cream with that little waffle maker. And anyways, we had a lot of fun making them, and I'm going to put a picture in right here of our finished ones. So those are my three things: the furniture shop, the repair shop, and Stroop waffles. All right, last time, the question of the day was, what is your favorite song of the season? And so many of you said, Mary, Did You Know? And that's such a beautiful song. And you know, I mentioned last time I love Pentatonics, the group, and they have a beautiful version of that song. Now, one of you, and I forgot to write down your name, but I know I responded to you in the comments, one of you said you love Carol of the Bells, and you did a whole playlist of all the different versions of Carol of the Bells. And I thought, what a cool idea to have, especially a song like that, have your favorite song and then make a whole playlist of the different versions. So that was super fun. Anyways, I enjoyed reading about your favorite songs of the seasons. So the giveaway last time was for this project bag, and Deborah from Joyful Stitching Store, all one word, on Etsy, and I always link them below, donated the project bag. And you had to use the word buffalo, although didn't some of you tell me it's not buffalo, it's bison in America, but anyway. So buffalo, because all of these animals are wearing their buffalo plaid. And the winner of this is Cindy Luthge. Well, there it is. I spelled it out. So if you can contact me, my email address is below. I will get this sent right off to you. All right, and then we have another giveaway from Deborah, Joyful Stitching Store on Etsy. I loved this one so much when it came in the mail for the donation that I immediately went on her website and ordered one for myself because it's adorable, and it's sock monkeys. Isn't that cute? And for these drawings, she always includes the accessory pouch and a couple of skeins of floss that match. And so for this one, if you're interested in being entered in the drawing for this beautiful project bag from Deborah, let's use the word monkey. Of course we should use the word monkey. So use the word monkey in your comment and you'll be entered to win that. And I am fine with shipping internationally, so everybody is welcome to enter. So let's do question of the day. Question of the day for your comments, because I always like having a reason for you to leave a comment, and I love reading your comments. Question of the day: what was your favorite piece that you stitched and finished in 2021? Let's say finished in 2021. So it's okay if you started it 5 years ago. What's your favorite finished piece from 2021? And I was thinking, mine was Sampler Maker because that was my first design, and it was just so fun to go from design on the computer to the rendering in cross stitch itself. I just loved that. So that was probably my favorite. My second favorite was probably All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Anna. And I really like that one too. So tell me what your favorite piece is that you finished in 2021. All right, that's all for all of my personal stitching and updates. And let's jump into a little bit of shop news. Again, I'm going to share and talk about Brenda Keys patterns today in the shop news. Thank you so much for your orders. We just have so much fun packing your orders up and getting them off. We still get them out the same day if your order is in by noon, and unless it's Sunday. And of course we don't ship on Sundays because the mail doesn't pick up anyways on Sundays, but we've just had so much fun shipping orders out to you and seeing what you're getting. I'm always thinking, ooh, what are they going to do with that? What are they going to use that fabric for? Or what fabric are they going to pick with that pattern? So that part's fun. I do that with the yarn shop too. I'm always wondering what people are making with their yarn. So anyways, just thank you again for your orders. It's you guys have been so supportive, and we've just had fun with it. And we will continue to add more and more to our inventory and grow as we go along. We've got fox and rabbit fabrics coming, I'm hoping by the end of January. We've got color and cotton on the way, a couple of other hand-dyed fabrics in the works. So yeah, we have a lot going on. Our large project bags that I shared a couple of videos ago have come and gone again. I order a ton each time. You guys buy them all up, which is great, perfect. And now I probably won't get them again till February, only because there's a vinyl shortage going on. And this company that makes bags for me, I think I've shared with you, I've been using them for years and years, like I think 14 years. I've had them make bags for the yarn shop, and they just made so many bags for us this fall. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bags for our yarn advent kits, and then so many of these project bags for Colorado cross stitchers. So we used a lot of their vinyl, and she's working on getting more, but she said there's a vinyl shortage. So we will have more, and I'm always going to order, you know, as many as they can do for us, and I'll keep ordering them. So if you haven't gotten one, just wait, we'll get them back. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I did a little video when we got them in, what was it, a week and a half ago maybe, or 2 weeks ago. I did a little video on Instagram. So look up Colorado Cross Stitcher on Instagram, and you can see a video of how I use my project bag, which is really to corral, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these project bags. So it's perfect. Okay, let's talk about Brenda Keys, because Brenda Keys is an amazing designer, and she reminds me a little bit of Norman Rockwell. Not in the, well, here's how. Because I look at her, what she's done, what she's designed, and the more I look, the more I see. And we've been to, we saw a Norman Rockwell exhibit in Chicago one time, and to see his paintings in person and the actual brush strokes and the details. And it's like with Brenda's patterns, the more you sit and look at it, the more you just think, oh, and there's that there, and there's that, and the characters are fun, and anyways, I love her stuff. But, and I don't know if you know this, in Brenda's patterns, she always includes a sheet that is symbolism of sampler motifs. And that's just super fun to read through. So that's always in there. And then she also includes a thread key. In case you want to label this, it's cardboard. And put your flosses on. And then she has a little card that says stitched by in the year. And you can fill that in and put that on the back of your framed piece. And that comes in all of her patterns. So those are little extras that she gives you, which I think is really cool. So let's look at some of these. Now I meant to bring my Nantucket, I think it's called Nantucket Sampler, that I did of hers a year ago, maybe, had framed this past spring. And I love that, it's at the shop. The next one I wanted to do, okay, here's the problem. I took these out of the plastic. Okay, let me see if I have these in order. I tried to keep them in order. Took them out of the plastic, so then I don't know the name of the pattern that I'm showing you. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, this will work. Okay, there you go. Country House Sampler. Now this was the next one that I bought from her that I really want to do. And what I love about it is the front yard. There's different sizes of trees, there's benches, there's people. I just love that. And of course I love that red house in there. And all of her patterns call for DMC. So it's easy to get the flosses. Isn't that a fun one? So that is the Country House Sampler. Should I stand up? I should probably stand up and show these a little closer so you can see the details, because that's what I was just talking about. It's the wonderful details. Look at that. All right. So that is Country House Sampler. The next one is the Contented Mind. And I like this because it's not necessarily like a pastoral scene, but it's got so much going on. I'm going to have a drink. I'm telling you what, I cough too much. All right, so that one is The Contented Mind. And then we have Church on the Hill. Okay, I'm getting mixed up. Okay, this is the next one I bought of hers that I love. Because there's a peacock in there. Who doesn't want a peacock at church? All right, next one. The Huntsman Sampler. Now, I love that little bit at the top. I think I've said before, if you're not a hunter and you don't want him to have a gun, he doesn't have to have a gun. You don't have to do that part. But I think it's so cute. And this one is, I went to church. This next one, I went to church on Sunday. My love, she passed me by. I know her mind was changed by the roving of her eye. I probably wouldn't necessarily do the saying on there. I might substitute something else. Favorite Bible verse of a hymn or something, but that's so fun. Okay, this one is called the Red House Sampler, but it's a very orangey house, which is fabulous. I think that's so much fun. Red house, lots of little details in there. And then this one, so unique. Sweet Humility Sampler. I love that that house is on a hill. I love the blue roof. I just think it's kind of elegant looking, don't you think? So pretty. And then we have, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Nope, this one. This is Town and Country Sample. Okay, hang on, now I gotta refigure. This is the Humility, Sweet Humility. Okay, Sweet Humility. Then we have Town and Country Sampler. And then we have, why did it not even occur to me as I was taking these out of the plastic that I would not have the names with them? Okay, Town and Country Sampler. And what I think is cool about this is that big old orange house there. So if you don't always want red houses, and I pretty much always do, but some people don't like red houses, that is a fun one, isn't it? All right. Okay, you know what, y'all? I think I'm getting these mixed up. Hang on. So I've got New England Sampler that I'm going to show you here. You know, I thought as I'm taking them out, well, it'll be easy to put them back together with the right one because, you know, I can open them up and see the pattern. And then I thought I would keep them all in order. Okay, Townhouse Sampler. Yes, okay. And then, what is this dear one? I don't know what this one is, but I'm going to show it to you. Oh, maybe it's this. Yeah. This is the Town and Country Sampler. What is this one? Seriously, do you believe you have to sit through this while I'm trying to figure this out? I'm going to link below to Brenda's samplers and Brenda's patterns so you can just go and look at all of them on our website. So that even if I got these mixed up, you'll be able to figure it out. This one is the Townhouse Sampler. I love this one because it's got beautiful pots of flowers. It's narrow, which is a fun alternative shape for your sampler wall. And of course I love that house there with the pretty roof. Okay. And then we have Learn Little Maid. another really fun orange house. Now, I'm not really an orange person, but seeing all these orange houses, I might have to do one. Because wouldn't that pop on your sampler wall if you've got a bunch of red houses and then all of a sudden you pop an orange one in there? So that's super fun. And then the last one is another one I want to do. I didn't bring all of them, so there's more that we have in this shop. So again, click on the link just in case I've mixed any of these up. This is the New England sampler, and I love that row of houses. Here. Isn't that row of houses fun? Even if you just did the row of houses, like finishing it as a drum, or putting it on an antique spool. Really cool. And then the bottom is the ocean. That would also be, in fact, this whole thing could be 2 different drums or 2 different strips, and that would be fun. Okay, so that's Brenda's samplers, a few of them that I pulled. Hopefully I kept them all together. But again, I'm going to link below if you're interested in ordering any of her things. We also always sell out of her Ultimate Sampler book. Every time I order from her, I think, okay, this time I'm going to get a bazillion and we'll have them forever. And we still sell out of them. So her Ultimate Sampler book is amazing, and I am going to order more of those next week. So we have those in stock for you. Okay, I think that's all today. Next time I'm going to have a little Valentine freebie, a little pin pillow for you that I've started designing, and we'll put that on the website, but I'll show it to you next time. I also want to talk a little bit about Word of the Year next year, Word of the Year for this year, next time. So we'll have that. And then don't forget to hop over to ColoradoCrossStitcher.com if we can send you any new patterns, fabrics, flosses. Be sure to join my Facebook group if you're into that, and that's Colorado Cross Stitcher on Facebook. We also have a Cross Stitch Camp group, which is different, and you're welcome to join that as well. And then hit the subscribe button below if you'd like notification when I put up floss tubes. And I will be back hopefully within 3 weeks and to talk to you more. All right, don't forget question of the day. What was your favorite piece that you finished in 2021? And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.